Great Yarmouth Pleasure Beach is a seaside classic, home to one of the oldest wooden coasters in the UK, with some other classic rides as well. But how do they stack up? Let's go through them and see what should be kept and what should be scrapped. Right, let's start with the headline attraction then, shall we? The roller coaster. I mean, it's kind of imaginatively named. It is one of the oldest coasters in the UK, and it's one of only 7 remaining scenic railways around the world, which basically means it's got a brakeman. And it's kind of crazy, because when it gets in the station, it doesn't really stop, and then when it eventually stops, so you get off whilst it's still moving, and then to get out of the station, they basically shove it, like, you know, you're cold starting a car. And then, as I say, this guy hops in the middle, no seatbelts, no restraints, and he's in control of the brakes. So yeah, it's an interesting ride. There's bits of it where it kind of crawls, there's bits of it where it absolutely flies, and you get completely chucked out your seat. But all in all, I had several rides on this, and it is absolutely brilliant. So let's hope it stays around for as long as possible, because I'm gonna keep it. Right, next up's an attraction that I didn't do personally, but my partner and my daughter did, and that is their 4D cinema. I mean, as you'd expect, there's a movie playing, the seats move, and there's some effects. So my daughter just told me that everybody else got soaked and she did not. And the movie was quite good when she went to see it. And yeah, I mean, as I say, I didn't experience it personally, but speaking to them, sounds like it's all right. So let's keep it. They have one of my favorite rides, a roller disco known as Disko. You can imagine I didn't go on it because I don't like the damn things. So I'm going to scrap it. Right, another classic attraction that you see in so many places, but can vary wildly, is the Dodgems. And they do have a set of Dodgems here, and they were brilliant. They were so much fun, really fast, responsive, and just great, which is what you want in a set of Dodgems. You don't want the ones where the steering wheel barely works or doesn't go or whatever. These were fantastic. Loads and loads of fun. So definitely another one to add to that keep pile. Right, going back to the coasters then, they've got another coaster here called Family Star. And it's basically like a spinning wild mouse sort of attraction. And it was alright. I mean, it wasn't, I went on it on my own, so I kind of assumed since I was sitting at one side, it would have spun more. It did spin, I'm not saying it did not spin, but I kind of expected a bit more from it. So it was alright, but nothing spectacular. So this one, chuck it and take it or leave it. As always, there are loads and loads of smaller sort of kids rides that I'm not going to touch on, but I am going to mention one of them, and that is Floaty Boaty. And it's just a simple tugboat, but I'm mentioning it because I quite like the name of it, Floaty Boaty. So for that alone, I'm going to keep it. Right, as is the case with almost every park that I mention, there is the kids coaster, the token credit for the younger generation. And they have a simple wacky worm. In their case, it is known as the Big Apple Coaster. Nothing special about it, it is a very standard model, but as I said in every other video I've done, I do like these coasters that are aimed at that audience to kind of introduce them to it. So, also it's nothing special, and yes, I went on it and got that shameless cred, I'm gonna keep it. I actually don't know how this next one is still allowed with modern health and safety. Because they got a madhouse, like a traditional madhouse, or a funhouse madhouse, not a Vekoma madhouse. You know, with the moving floors and the kind of mirrors and all that sort of stuff, except the moving floors are violent, like ridiculously violent. They are trying to get you on the deck, they do not want you standing up, and it is just, you're in fits of laughter trying to fight this thing and trying to get around. So I'm definitely keeping it. I do wonder how much longer they'll get away with that before some guy comes in with a clipboard and goes, "Can't do that anymore." The next attraction, if I'm not mistaken, is unique to this park. I'm pretty sure I heard people saying that there are no more of these around the world, and that is Lightning 360. Now, it's kind of hard to describe. It's sort of a spinning ride in all senses of the word. So there's kind of all the gondolas around, and that rotates, and it kind of rises up. But there's also the seats spin, and you control that yourself. So I went on it with Ben from Ben and Holly's Adventures, and yeah, I held it upside down. I don't think Ben was that happy with me, but it was great fun, and as I say, pretty sure it's unique, so well, it's got to get kept, isn't it? Another classic of these kind of amusement parks is a ghost train. Now theirs is the Haunted Hotel, and I actually was very, very well impressed with this one because it was more theming than I expected. It was quite hilarious that when you first start the ride op cackles every single time he dispatches a car. So he's like, presses the button, and then off you go, which is just, I mean, that has you in stitches before you even started. And you know, there's some dark sections, there's some UV sections. I'm sure there's a bit where you come outside and go back in, a bit like the ghost train at Blackpool. But I really enjoyed it. It was way more than I was expecting, because usually these things you expect like a black box with a couple of bits of paint and maybe a skeleton. There was a lot more than that. There was definitely a lot more to this, and I really enjoyed it. So it's another one I'm going to keep. Right, so the next attraction I didn't actually get on, because I'm pretty sure when I was there was just always a queue, like a decent sized queue, and I was kind of trying to get around as much as I possibly could, and that's their monorail. So I don't know what it was like. It seemed to take up a decent chunk of that end of the park. Look, it's not going to be anything spectacular in terms of, it's not fast and thrilling, but it just kind of goes around bits of the park, lets you see things. So, you know, I guess this is kind of the equivalent of that train ride that I always like halfway through a park day. So I'd assume that I will keep it, but since I didn't experience it, I'm not going to rate it. But if you've been on it, let me know. Right, you don't need a wristband to enjoy this channel. All you need to do is hit like and subscribe. Right, another classic ride that you see in these parks is the pirate boat, and then theirs is called the Ghost Ship. There was nothing spectacular about it. It was a fairly standard ship. When we went on it, it was kind of a bit of a group takeover, so we were at both ends, and we were kind of cheering when our end went up, and then the other end would cheer when their end went up, and so on and so forth. It was a pretty decent cycle, if I remember correctly. Was on it for quite some time, so yeah, as I say, nothing particularly special about it, but I enjoyed it, so I'm going to keep it. The next one is probably one of their more extreme rides in terms of this park, and that is, they've got well, it's called Pendulum. I guess it's kind of gyro swing-esque. It does a full revolution, so you do go all the way upside down. I did it twice, and the first time I did it, I got tons of spins upside down, and of course it's rotating and stuff. Fortunately, that one I was taking a POV, so it was a decent cycle. I went back on it again, so I think I went on it without my daughter at first, and then she came on with me. And then it broke down and e-stopped. So we got one, maybe two full revolutions, and then it took about 15 minutes to park. So the shot I did get, if I hadn't had that first shot, this thing would probably be going in the bin. But because I did get a proper cycle on it and I actually enjoyed it, I'm going to keep this one as well. And the next ride, not so much of a fan. It's called Reverse Time, and I mean, I'll put a clip in because I don't really know how to describe this. If you saw the Retro Squad at Alton Towers, in the final year there was a ride from Scotland, I believe, that was situated over where Enterprise used to be. It's exactly the same model, so it's that kind of, it's rotating, all the seats are facing out the way, it's rotating and it kind of goes up at an angle and stuff. What a pile of junk. Absolutely waste of space. Not very comfortable either, over the shoulder restraints. I just didn't get it, didn't do anything for me. So yeah, this one is going in the bin. Right, so another flat ride they've got here, because I mean, that's kind of what you expect at these sort of parks, lots of flat rides, is their drop tower, known as Sky Drop. Now, it was pretty good. It's quite a kind of long gondola. The only criticism I had for it was that it felt like it was facing the wrong way. So, you know, you go up and you face out over all the housing estate that's next to the park. So, you know, I mean, you get up reasonable high, you can see quite far, but if they flipped it, you'd be looking out over the sea, which to me seems to make more sense. So I don't know why they did that. I mean, there could be a very good reason for it, but it just feels like it would have been more thrilling and a better view, frankly, if they flipped it around. So, nonetheless, I did enjoy it. It was a reasonably good cycle, and I'm gonna keep this one as well. The next one is probably one of the weirdest, quirkiest things I've seen in a long time. And that is Snails and FairyTales. So this is a tracked dark ride that goes through underneath the roller coaster. And it's, I mean, we joked and called it Copyright the Ride because it's got so much Disney stuff in there that there is absolutely no danger they've got licensing for. Kind of all the fairy tales, etc. I mean, clues in the name, Snails and FairyTales, but do you know what I mean? Like it's all the Disney stuff. And the snails part is because the carriages that take you around are shaped like snails. They're all themed differently. There's like a Mexican one, a Sherlock Holmes one, the professor or student one or something. Like there's all these different themed carriages, which was kind of quirky. It was bonkers, very, very strange. Probably great for little kids, but do you know what? For the quirkiness and the sheer cheek of copying all the Disney stuff, I'm gonna keep it. Right, the other coaster that they've got there is known as Whirlwind, and it's one of those sort of figure of 8 spinning coasters. So I think there's like 3 or 4 carriages joined together that rotate. Pretty sure it's free spinning, and as I say, it's probably slightly more than a figure of 8, but it's roughly a figure of 8 sort of track. When I went on it, I swear to God, it was a 15 lap special. I was like, this thing is never ever gonna stop. Which I think kind of took away from it a little bit for me. And I know there's times you go on some rides and you're like, well, that would have been good if it just kept going. You know, you often get those short cycles and you're left kind of wanting more. But it kind of felt this was beyond repetitive and didn't need to go anywhere near as much as it did. Now, I don't know if that's a standard cycle. Could very well be that it was just completely dead when we went on it and the guy was like, I'll just leave it going for 10 minutes. But it kind of just, it spoiled it. I think if it had been a shorter cycle, I might have been a bit more, okay, that's a decent kids coaster. As it was, it was fine for the first 2 or 3 laps, and then I'm like, right, come on now, that's enough. So I'm gonna put this one in take it or leave it, because I'm hoping that there are shorter cycles, and it's not often I ask for a short cycle, but I just feel it was too much. Right, another flat ride that I went on was Twister. Nothing special about this one, it's a fairly standard model, you'll have seen them many, many times before. But it was pretty good. It was running a decent cycle. This one was forceful, it was fast, it went forwards, it went backwards. It was just a lot of fun. So, just a classic, nothing special about it, but I'm gonna keep it. Right, so there's a hell of a lot of things there in the keep pile, and not so much in the other 2 piles. And I genuinely was impressed with this park. Like, I had low expectations going in. I was like, it's just a kind of amusement park, there'll be nothing special. And it's in the middle of nowhere, well, it's not in the middle of nowhere, but it's tucked away right the way down at the bottom of England, and of course for me, that's a hell of a trek. So it's unfortunately not somewhere I will be visiting frequently just because of its location, but I really enjoyed it. Pleasantly surprised, as did my partner and my daughter, who also went in with very low expectations. So if you've been to this park, I'd love to know your thoughts, specifically around the rides as well, because I'm sure, as always, there will be things you agree with and things that you don't. I've been Chris, you've been watching Coaster Dad, and if you've not seen my visit to Great Yarmouth, I'll chuck that up here.